All right, everybody, welcome to session 3 of attrACTION. So super pumped to keep rolling on this class, having a lot of fun with it. Hopefully everybody is following along, keeping up with your homework, right? And so we're going to go through everything that you need to do to build wealth and serve others on this awesome platform here at EXP. But just like anything else, it doesn't work unless you do. So, all right, let's get cranking, and we're going to dig into all of the stuff for today. Before I dig into the next set of material and the stuff that we're going to go through, I did see some of the vision boards starting to trickle in, so thank you for that. Just don't forget, get the homework done, and then get the stuff in. If something, if your week blows up, it does from time to time. If it blows up every week, then that's on you. That's tail wagging the dog, to be honest, right? I mean, I know life can be that way, and every once in a while there's some really big things, and that's good. Grace, right? Everybody gets grace. But if you're finding that your schedule is not allowing you to do the things that you need to do to get where you want to go, you got to change your schedule. You got to put your helmet on and your shoulder pads, and you got to start blocking. So just make sure you're doing the stuff that you need to do to get where you want to go, and get all these things done. Just say, hey, I committed to this. I'm committing, 90 minutes a week, every week for 5 weeks. It's a lot of time. So get the ROI out of it, get the results out of it by putting the work in. So we have a little bit of that kind of public accountability, and it's meant to be encouraging to everybody, not discouraging. But get your stuff in, get your stuff done. I know some of you have gotten through it, and it can be hard. So I did include pictures of ours. We did this. This is a photo album, right? You guys can see this. It's a photo album with the little it's the plastic that peels back and just stick stuff on it. So ours goes by in pages. So I broke ours down into pages. I did take pictures of almost every page. I didn't want to bore you with everything, but I did do pictures of almost every page in our attrACTION group, right? So that's all in there. And I did start off, we have our reason statement, right? You guys did your reason statement. So I printed off our reason statement, stuck it right in the center, right? That's what all this is about. Okay. And then, some keywords. There's some things you can go onto Amazon and get a whole bunch of like stickers or a bunch of other things super cheap with inspirational sayings and cool pictures and stuff. And I did, pictures of, I knew we were going to have stuff with the beach and, family and blah, blah, blah. So I went and found a bunch of those, and I had all kinds of quotes. There's religious quotes, there's family quotes, there's fun quotes, there's things about adventure and journey and success and blah, 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 all those things and pictures. So I got all those. You can find them online and print them out from, Google Images, print them and just cut them out, stick them on here. Whatever the different things are that are going to go on there. So maybe you start off with words, right? And plan out your page or your pages with words, and then go find images that really resonate with you around those words. And sometimes there's nothing better than words. Just make the words kind of, make them fancy, make them in a font or make them into whatever. You can usually type the word in, into Google and then search images, and you'll find that word in some scrolly whatever, and then put it in there. So makes it fun. We've got all of our stuff in there, leaving legacy, family, a lot of stuff on travel, few things on cars, right? I got those in there. We have Kristen's Range Rover Sport HSE that she wants, and my Ferrari Roma. So, all right. And we did have in there also our numbers of where we wanted to go with revenue share, how many people we wanted to have in our group, and what that translates into, right? So, get as specific as you can. You want to be looking at, hey, how many frontline agents do I need? How many FLQAs am I going to have out of that? How many, what's my total organization size going to be? And then how much will that make every month? And how much will that make every year? And remember, that's getting beyond your reason number. I'm just getting beyond your freedom number. Sorry, that's getting to your reason number, right? That's going, hey, I'm paying for all my stuff. My life is set. I don't have to worry about paying my bills. Now, how am I building this huge vision that I have, right? What is it going to take to do that? And then you put that in. This is your vision book. That's where you're going. And then you want to be looking at it all the time and be marching towards it. All right. So see, let's see if I can fast through these. Yep, that is maybe. All right, well, it's not working at all. That is cool. Super lag. All right. So here are some from a previous class. Okay, I'll just show you a couple on here real quick so you can see what some other people, but you can see on there they've got their chart, their circle, right? You can take this right off of MyEXP. You can screenshot that off of MyEXP, the circle, and then you can just kind of stick it on. I don't know about you guys, but I like to use PowerPoint. You can use Canva, whatever you like, but I mean, for me, it's super easy to just, do a white box, stick it over top of what's currently on there, type in the numbers that you want. No worries. Put in those things, do some calculations, say, this is what I want. Okay. Where do you want to be on that? And then there you go, right? Family, travel, skiing, mountains, first class travel, all that kind of stuff, relationships, adventures. That's what this person chose. All right. On this one right here, there's some words. You can't zoom in on all the stuff, but you can see some of the stuff, right? Kids graduating, tropical vacations, being fearless, healthy, some home renovations and all that kind of stuff like that. So that's what this person was on their vision board for them. And you can see some of the aesthetics right here. This person did a background. There's some things that you can do digitally. So there are some online vision boards that you can create. So it's, kind of nice looking, but I do encourage you to print them out, have them somewhere out in front of you all the time. Because the thing about digital, it can look really nice and it's super cheap. However, you're not going to see it all the time unless, maybe you make it your home screen or something like that. All right. So again, these are just different people's versions. Sometimes it's just pictures. Sometimes it's a lot of words. Some have huge poster board covered with stuff. And some people just have a few simple pictures that say, hey, I don't need a lot of different things. I have a couple of things for me. I need like 3 to 5 things, and they're going to be my key focus. And that's where I'm going to go. Okay. This does not need to be important or inspiring, meaningful, or even make sense for anyone but you. Okay. All right. Here's one more on here. I forget how many I put on here. This is Grady's. So this was Grady did last year, right? So he's got his daughter on there. He's got him with his wife. He's got different cars. Right. He's got nice taste in cars. I think that boat on the bottom might be Gene's boat. That looks like Naughty Nickel. So nice. And then all kinds of great words on there, right? That describe what's important to him. Those are the words that just like say, hey, if I sat here and closed my eyes when I achieved this and I described my life, what words would I use? Right? What words would you use right now? Okay. And what words do you want to use when you've achieved this? Right? How do you get there? That sense of peace and accomplishment and joy and all of those things, right? Okay. So there you have it. So we're going to dig into building your wealth chart, right? And feeding your goals. Before I go there real quick, I just want to open this up for you guys to talk for a minute. Those of you that had a chance to do any work, any level of work on your vision board, talk to me about how that experience felt and what was helpful about it, kind of cathartic about it, and what was difficult. Floor is yours. Rick.
Dave, it was hard for me because I don't really want for much, and I was struggling with what I would put on it. But I'm glad you showed some of these examples because it doesn't always have to be things per se, but it was feelings and inspirations and relationships, which is kind of nice to see these examples. So thanks for sharing these.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we've got, I think I'm showing the right side, right? So stop soldier suicide, right? We do a lot of stuff for military. We do a lot of stuff for PTSD. We do stuff with our church. We do stuff with FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes. So there are causes that we are involved in and causes we want to get more heavily involved in. That, it's like, man, if I had unlimited cash and there was something going like, like Fellowship of Christian Athletes, something we've been involved in, for a long time. And, when they want to go open into a new area and bring on a new rep, to go into that area, well, they've got to do fundraising. They've got to do it. They can't go do things until they've raised certain amount of funds. And there's a lot of work and there's a lot of other stuff and stress. And meanwhile, there's a need for it out there. What if you could just say, hey, we're going to cover this. We've got you. Consider yourself fully funded. Go to work. Right.
Well, also, if you're
oh,
financially
example.
free, you have time to dedicate to your passion projects,
Right.
which is, which I wasn't really thinking about that on my vision board starting level.
That's an amazing, honestly, that's an amazing point, because that is something where it's not always about the money. The money, if you have if everything's taken care of, then your time is your own. You're like, hey, my bills are met. Like every month, everything's paid for, right? And my future's paid for, right? I'm in a good spot. So now every day when I wake up, I can go do whatever I want. Well, what would I do? Who could I go help? Like, hey, you could get up every day and go volunteer in a soup kitchen. Like, go, like, it's not like, well, hey, I'd love to come help you guys every day, but I do have to work. Well, no, I don't have to work. So now what can I do? Who can I help? Where can I be? So, yeah. Kyle, had shared, he had volunteered with, that's how we met Kyle. He volunteered basically coaching, cross country for high school, because that's what he really wanted to do. He was a runner and he had the time and he had the financial ability to do it. And so he that's what he did, and he poured into helping other students, run, and what was, it was awesome to have a Division I runner who was, still young enough to go out and run with them. He went out and ran with them and drove them and pushed them and showed them how to pace properly, and taught them, resiliency and that kind of stuff. So what a cool way to spend your time. Love that. Anybody else?
Yeah, Dave, I'll jump in. I've had my why pretty much figured out for the last 20 years. My two daughters. I can tell you that having them on my vision board for the last 20 years, when I was a managing broker and dealing with all the things that we deal with, it really helped me pull through those challenging times. And now they're both graduated from college. One's married. They have no college debt. For those of you that don't think that dream boards work, trust me, they do.
Yeah.
And I see it every day. So now I'm able to, live a great life, but this is now about building a legacy for them. And so they're still on my dream board. And then I have other ways to remind myself visually on what I want my future to look like. One is a map of the greater Asheville area, really nice thing that I keep on one of my kitchen tables.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have on my writing desk, I have a map of one of my favorite places to go, which is St. John and the USVI.
Mm-hmm.
And I see them every day, and it's a reminder of why I'm doing it. Why I love EXP so much, the opportunity that I saw a year ago that, has gotten me so excited. And then I look at my numbers all the time. I share goals with my team. Right now, my goal is to attract 30 agents this year for my front line and help them build 5 each. So I know what those numbers look like, and I know that consistently meeting with agents in our marketplace and showing them how they can achieve the same successes. It's just a great way to spend the last part of my career in real estate. So
yeah, I love that. That's awesome. Yeah, that's the things that I would put on my vision board, or things that would be out there. One of the things, a great way to get like constant reminders. I mean, there were things, some were material, right? Like if you wanted to, like, hey, I would love to have the money where getting the car I really want to drive, because I do really like cars, right? The car I really want to drive, where it becomes an inconsequential amount of money to go buy, right? I can still do all the other good. I can still serve other people. It doesn't feel selfish to go do it, right? So what is that? What about we wanted to build a house, so back in the early days, right? And so I joined all these things where they would send you, the home plans, right, of these gorgeous homes, right? And so I would get that all the time. So whatever it was, if there's a cause that you care about, subscribe to them and follow them and all the other things on social media. So you're constantly seeing it in your feed. So everywhere you go, all the things that are important to you, whatever those things are. And again, like I said, material things, sure, but like the other key things and whatever it is for, for long term. Maybe it's something you want to be able to do with your, take care of your grandkids. It's, whatever, all those legacy moments, all those other things that you want out there. Put yourself in a situation where you're being bombarded with those things all the time and you're seeing it all the time. Subscribe to things, and have it sent to your house or have it sent to you in your email or see it online and do all that kind of stuff. Because that's really, then you're hungry for it all the time. You never forget why you're doing this. Yeah, love that. Anybody else before we move on? Okay, awesome. All right, so please, please, please don't, as Lars said, he's living proof, right? And as am I. I've gone through this and used that. I can show you some great pictures of the home that we built, right? We built our dream home. And we got to go through and do a lot of the things that have gone on there in that vision board. So it does work. It is a great driving force. So if you haven't done it, or if you haven't completed it, give it the time. Remember, it's a process. Follow the process. All right. And same thing as we go through and build this wealth chart and we talk about these things today. Why am I? Oh, there we go. It is working. Sweet. All right. Got different computers going over here and it doesn't always work. All right. So when we're talking about, let me make sure I got the right. Yep. All right. So when we're talking about the wealth chart, did you guys get a chance to watch the video with Rob Flick? Good. Okay. If you have not yet, that is in your homework. So it's on part of the stuff. All the links are out there and everything else. You'll find that in everything that was sent out previously. If you can't find it for any reason, you know where to find us. Ping us in the attraction class and we'll make sure you have a link there. The video from Rob Flick is, he outlined a process to kind of, it's just a model. That's just a formula to go through to get where you want to go and to track where you are. Okay. But Rob is someone who has been involved in agent attraction for a long time. Rob Flick was the largest profit share earner at Keller Williams for a long time. So he helped put that company on the map back in the early days, and then he's been one of the largest here at EXP for for a long time as well. So he's got a process and love the puppy, and and so, he's someone who's like, okay, he's been there, done that. Here's a process. So first things first, make a list. You guys, you will not go to any growth events. You will not listen to any growth leader talk about what to go do and what steps to take without them mentioning, make a list. So if you have not made a list, then you are just saying, I don't want to succeed, right? If everyone that succeeds tells you to make a list and you're like, I'm not doing it, then just give up. Make the list. Just make the list. Start small if you have to, that's fine, but grow the list. Make the list. Make the list of agents and make the list of affiliates. Okay. Affiliates, just like when you're lead generating for buyers and sellers, you're going to talk to all the different affiliates, anyone who might know agents, and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Right? I'd love to get leads for buyers and sellers. I would also love to get leads of great agents. They're talking to agents. Agents are pretty free with, with people that are not their broker to say, I'm unhappy with my broker, or I'm looking around, or, hey, have you heard about this company? And they'll go, hey, so-and-so was just asking about EXP. Oh, really? Yeah, you should give them a call, right? Or, hey, I told them they should talk to you, right? If they know you're looking for that and you ask them, then you can get those connections. So your affiliates who might be a great lead source for you, other opportunities that might be a lead source, all of the agents that okay, and you're going to put them out there. Now, I like to, when I make my agent lists, I like to divide them up into groups. I like to figure out who's going to be a great producing agent and who might be a great influencer. Right. So I have those two groups. And I'm going to take those two groups and I'm going to break them down in terms of their level of influence. If I brought this person over, right, then who else would I get through bringing them over? Right. Because, I want to go get 5 at a time. It's just better that way, right? All right, another thing, learn to invite. Okay, learn to invite. This is one of those things where, like, if you think I need to go get them, right, and I need to go present all the stuff to them, I gotta go tell them everything, then you're going like, I need to go tell them all the things about EXP. Okay, and that's not really effective. It's not actually what you want to go do. We'll talk some more about the path and everything else next time, but just the concept is, would you be interested? Okay, would you be interested in hearing more? And what's amazing is no matter what, even with the relationship, there aren't a whole lot of people probably on the planet who have had more recruiting conversations and meetings than I have, maybe Gene, right? I still, when I have someone interested, I go bare minimum and I connect them with, and get them in front of somewhere else because I'm too close, right? They know I'm trying to get them to move over, right? And everything else. And they go like, hey, I know this is what you do, right? So I'm like, listen, could I connect you with someone else who can tell you their story and you can ask them questions and everything else like that? You don't know them. They've got nothing to gain through this. And it's really helpful. Their defenses come down. There's no preconceived anything else or any of that kind of stuff. So, I'm just telling you, it is a great, that third party endorsement and that three-way call and all those things are really amazing. There's a link. Casey Jiha did one of the best descriptions of how to do a great call. I think we've put the link out there. We'll reshare that link. It's on YouTube. It was at an event up in Tahoe, and she just talked about how to do great three-way calls. And if you become a three-way call person for your people and your group or others in our group, then you'll know how to do a great job being the person who's being asked to come into the call. And if you are the one doing the call, you're going to learn all the best tactics because there's a way to make it more impactful. If I just said, hey, how's your business going? Oh, this and that, whatever. Have you thought about anything else? Man, you really owe it to yourself to check out EXP. It's been the best thing I've ever done. They're like, yeah, maybe I'll look into it. Tell you what, if I just feel like, hey, I know a guy, his name's Lars, and that's a cool name. You should talk to him, right? Like that isn't, they're going to go, I guess I'll talk to, why do I need to talk to some guy named Lars? And that's it, right? So like how do I set Lars up so that when they get on the phone, they're already in awe that they're getting to talk to the Lars? Like, wait, what? Like, he's going to take time to talk to me? Do you think he would actually give me some time? Yeah. Well, fortunately, he and I are really good friends. So, I know that I can get him on the phone. As a matter of fact, here, watch this. Let's call him real quick on speaker. Lars picks up and Lars goes, Dave, what's up? Like right from the beginning, I'm like, see, he's got me on speed dial. He knows my name's in his phone. And then I'm like, hey, what's up, Lars? I'm sitting here with a good friend of mine. Right. Oh, awesome. Great. Okay. Lars knows immediately what mode we're in. And I'm like, hey, Lars, I want to set up a time. Would you be willing to talk to my friend? Right. And Lars goes, yeah. What you got? I got this and that. All right, perfect. Let's set this up for whatever. Right. And sometimes we're doing it on the fly real quick there. Like, hey, I just wanted to show them that I had you on speed dial. Right. I've been talking about the collaboration at EXP. I've been talking about, what our group is like. I've been talking about the fact that how much we all work together to help each other succeed and that we're here for each other to support each other. I pinged you, you picked up immediately and, you're here to help. Is it okay? Is it cool if they ask you a couple questions? But anyway, she'll go through the whole thing. She goes through that whole thing and we'll do more. But just the concept is learn to invite people to the events, invite people to the build event that's coming, right? That's coming August 1st and 2nd, Northern Jersey. There's only 400 seats. Get yourself to that event. That is a growth-focused event, right? It's a growth-focused event. Get yourself to the event. It's if you're getting now, there's 200 seats at $99 a seat. Okay. And then you can stay one night. So if you're cost conscious or anything else like that, or time conscious, you can come in, you can drive up in the morning, and stay one night and drive home in the afternoon the next day, right? $99, $399 for your room. You want to share a room with someone, it's $200, right? That's not bad. For $300 total, you're going to get 2 days hanging out with some executives, the top leaders. You're going to hear from people on stage for hours about what to go do, and you're going to put yourself in that environment. Then you bring a guest and they get to experience that environment and go, man, this is really cool. If they went, well, is this really a thing? And is it really whatever? I tell you what, why don't you come experience it for yourself? All right. Also, hey, Fire Fridays, right? Anyone who might remotely be interested in seeing what, that's like, bring them there. How about First Fridays with our group? What's our community like? What's it feel like? And everything else. Like, hey, can you really have collaboration and community in a virtual environment? I feel like I know you guys pretty well, and a lot of you guys I've never met face to face, right? So, wow, how cool is that? Some of you have met face to face a few times, but that's pretty amazing when I feel like people are extremely close in our lives, that I've, met a few times or never. It's pretty awesome. So that's the power of that community. And they sense that and they go, wow, it's pretty amazing. You guys know about each other. You're laughing with each other. It's not a boring, business meeting of a bunch of, heads that don't know each other. So invite them to things, invite them to local things, all that kind of stuff. And if there aren't some local things and there are some other EXP local agents, create something. Hey, you guys want to get together for a happy hour? You guys want to get to do a book club? There's people doing book clubs. You want to get together for this? Let's go do some tours together, whatever. All right. So webinars, doing EXP Explains. There are a bunch of live EXP Explains, right? Frank Panunto, he's in our group. He's also one of the executives with the company. He does a phenomenal job with that. He's doing it regularly. So there's a webinar that you can link into, and he's also doing it in EXP World on a regular basis as well. So you invite people to those and attend with them, see what questions they have, get online with them, do whatever. If nothing else, invite them to watch the model explained or one of those other videos. They're, like I said, the recorded webinars. Watch with them, stop, pause, do whatever, even if you're on Zoom, and share your screen and watch it together. Okay. Wealth chart, we're going to talk about that. Tracking, right? Tracking, it's, that's your feedback. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. You got to look at how you're doing and moving towards your goal. Don't just go, great, I've got this great goal, and then not pay attention to where you are to the end of the year and go, how'd I do? Okay. Setting your goals takes effort. Okay. Here's the way I like to look at this. You get the ability to build a virtual brokerage, right? Without putting out the money. You don't have the investment, right? If you've ever owned a brokerage, okay, if you've ever bought a franchise, it's not cheap, right? I bought a bunch of franchises. They cost between $250,000 and $300,000 each. Okay. I mean, the franchise is like 25 to 30K, the franchise, but you had to put 30K, so you paid that out. Then you had to put 30K in a bank, 300K in a bank. So that had to be sitting there in a bank under your company name, your corporate bank account for the company. Now you're going out and you're leasing a building and you're signing off on a 10-year lease, right? And then you're buying furniture, you're buying computers, you're buying phone systems, you're hiring staff, you're decorating, you're doing the build out, you're doing all of those kinds of stuff. It's expensive to build out a brokerage. Even if you're going to go build a virtual brokerage, you need all the technology to be able to build out a virtual brokerage. What kind of tools and technology you're going to offer to your agents? You're signing contracts for all of those. And there's all kinds of stuff that you're doing. Then you have your E&O insurance as a broker, and all of those other things. There's a ton of stuff, ton of expense that goes into it. You get to create a virtual brokerage with zero money out of pocket, right? It doesn't cost you a thing. There's no expense. Then what's awesome is EXP handles all of the management. You don't have to hire a soul. You have no bricks and mortar cost. You have no business opening costs. You have zero legal liability. You have, zero other work on the structure. And then you don't have to do any of the management. You don't have to do any of the hiring. You don't have to have any staff. You don't have to do any like there's teaching on for agents on how to sell houses. And then you don't have to do any of the GATA minutes. You don't have to do any of the broker questions. You don't have to do any of that stuff. Right. So what do you have to do? Well, you have to have relationships with people, right? And you have to help connect their needs to how EXP meets their needs, right? And then hopefully get them assimilated into the greater community. If the fire community is something that really, helps meet additional needs, then that's great. If they find all of those things in EXP and they get involved in like, hey, we're going to do luxury and we're going to do this. And man, I'm going to all the luxury webinars and seminars and I found my crew and I'm flying around the country and the world, going to the luxury symposiums and the luxury retreats and, jumping on those meetings with them and all that kind of stuff. So I really don't have a lot of time. Hey, if they're happy and they're connected and they're getting what they need, that's totally fine. Right. But helping them find those things, knowing what those things are and getting them connected. So you're going to connect their needs and their goals with opportunity and then support them, as needed, which sometimes is zero. And sometimes is, if they're people you're surrounding yourself, right? So like Lars, you've got a group of people that you've surrounded yourself with where you guys are doing more together. Right. And so you guys are physically close, and so, a lot of you are, some of you are in Maine and some of you are, in Maryland and, whatever, like all over the place. And so it's like, okay, we can't physically be close. So what are the other things that we can do? Right. So So that's it, but you get to build a virtual, you can call it a virtual brokerage, you could call it a virtual region, whatever you want to do, but there are no geographic boundaries, right? So there's people in, we've got 21, 22 states now, 3 or 4 countries, right? It's just growing and expanding. There are no boundaries on what you're building. There's no restrictions on that, right? So it's just down to relationships and relationships and relationships and relationships. So it takes effort and it takes time on task over time, but it grows exponentially as it grows. All right. So here's the wealth chart. This is the original wealth chart, right? This is literally on the first one that Rob put together, on the wealth chart. Pretty amazing stuff. And he's like, all right, how am I going to approach this? Now, Rob is a Navy guy, right? He was a Navy fighter pilot. Great, graduated from the Naval Academy. He's got a good analytical mind, super smart guy. And so he approached this, but he also likes to win. He is super competitive. Right? He said, okay, how am I going to go get where I want to go, and how am I going to achieve my goals? And so he designed this and put it together. And so all of these circles up top, all of these circles represent your front line. Okay. So don't this isn't like line one, up top where it's like the first 5 circles are line 1 and the next 5 circles are line 2. But why are there 5 circles on each one of those lines?
It's to open up the next line.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it opens up the next line. Perfect. So it takes 5, right? Once you get 5 in your first line, you've opened up line 2. Okay. When you get 10, the next 5 in your front line, it opens up 3, right? So for every 5 frontline qualifying agents that you put in there, every 5 FLQA, you're opening up payout on additional line. Now the amounts you can see over the 3,200, 2,000, it's actually 2,800. It's 2,800. Yeah, those numbers. I don't know why he's got those numbers on there. Those again, this is the original chart, so ignore those numbers. 2,800 and then 3,200. But so those numbers on there for each of the lines, and then what he did with those stickers, he would write names on those stickers of people he was talking to, and put them over top of the circle, right? And then when they joined, he would pull the tape off and write them in the circle. Okay. So this was the original wealth chart. So just give you an idea, here's like a digital, kind of a representation on here, of a structure where you said, okay, now assuming if they were cappers, right, that you're bringing in, if you had 60 people on tier 1, right, 80 people on tier 2, this was an actual map of someone's structure. Right. So when I put this together, and I put this together, 2 or 3 years ago, this was an actual copy of someone's structure. So you break this down, whatever, and then it was like, okay, you have monthly goals over here in this side box. That was like, how many personals, frontline agents, are you adding every month? Is the goal to add, and then how much is the team adding? How much is your entire organization adding? Right. So you have people like Brian and Gene and everything else. Their organizations are growing by like 600, 650 agents a month. Okay, a month. Because it's just, there's so many people in their organization that if a few of them talk to someone, it's, you got 19,000, 16,000 people in your organization, you can grow by almost 1,000 people a month. All right. So, but if when your organization is smaller, I mean, you can be growing by 75 a month, 85 a month, 100 people a month, and everything else. So you can see how that expands. Okay. And then here's the payouts per level with this number of people on it. Right. So as you change this number on here, multiplied by this number, this changes here. Right. Now, the reason I've got this one down here, the 2,484,000 is that's if you got paid 50% of the possible amount, right? Because you're going to have some people that are half cappers and some people that don't produce and all that kind of stuff. So cranking out these numbers, even if it was 50% capper, right? Everyone was a half capper, so they were doing, 1.5 million on average in production or what have you, right? It's still 2.5 almost million per year. in income, which is not too shabby. Okay. So this is the structure. There's a wealth chart in the stuff that I've sent out, all of the information with the class. There are links to all of these things, so you should have all this. It's in the PDF, so you go back to the PDFs that are posted in our attrACTION group, and it has links to it. You can download the wealth chart. You can print it out. Rob he's a fanatical about the fact that it needs to be printed. You can blow it up, print it out. You can make it out, do it on a poster board, whatever you want to do. Have it somewhere you see it all the time. And Gene says the same thing. It needs to be somewhere where you're seeing it and looking at it and just, just obsessing over it. And it's one of those things where if you're at, 4 FLQA or 9 FLQA, but you have people on the other lines that you're not getting paid the full amount on, right? Do a little math. Figure out what would that look like, unlocking that level, right? And that's where that and out, like I said, I always gas and clutch how many people do I need to be getting on my front line versus how deep is my organization getting to make sure that I'm getting paid on every transaction the maximum amount I could possibly get paid on, right? So you're going to watch your organization growth, and then you're going to see, like, does anybody have anyone on their third line yet? Third line? Okay, not yet. Okay, so you don't need to worry about having 25 frontline qualifying agents right now because you have no one on your third line. Okay, so you're doing that. Say, hey, I'm going to help my people. Remember I talked about driving the multiple cars across the country. You're going to get in one car and drive it for a while, and you're going to get out and you're going to run back and go get the next car, and you're going to drive a little bit and you're going to run back and get the next one. All right, so you're bringing people in, help them get established, help them get going, help them start to bring people in. You're teaching them how to do it. Okay, and then you're going to go get the next one, and then you're going to show them, and you're going to teach them how to do it, and then you're going to do the next one. You're going to show them how to do it, right? And so you're just constantly looking at how to drive your organization in a way that you're maximizing the growth and you're maximizing your return on investment of your time. If you haven't seen it, go to YouTube after class, go to YouTube and search Anatomy of a Movement. And I believe it was Simon Sinek. So you can Google Simon Sinek Anatomy of Movement, or you can search it on in YouTube. It is a very short, couple of minutes or whatever, video where he uses a guy, looks like maybe he's at a Fish concert or something like that. No shirt on, dancing on the side of a hill, right? And there's a guy all by himself dancing on the side of a hill at a concert. By the end of the segment, and this is just a video, and he just taught, to him it triggered something, and so we talked about it. By the end of the segment, like everyone on the side of the hill had gone over to where he was and was copying his dance, right? And he showed the progression of how it went from one lone crazy dude dancing on the side of the hill to thousands and thousands of people dancing together on the side of the hill, right? How does that work? How do you get people to follow you? It's really cool, and how he explains that makes a ton of sense. All right, so just remember, right? Everybody on your front line, right? You're getting paid on them regardless of how much production you do or how much production they do. You're getting paid as they produce. So you don't have to unlock level 1, but you need 5 to unlock level 2, right? And here are the actual numbers, right? 2,800, 3,200, 2,000, etc. So 510. Again, old graphic, apologies. I got to go back and change my graphics on these, but it's 30 now for tier 7. So it's just literally just in 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. All right. So let's go through some of the steps on this, and just as far as planning out what you want to do. Okay, you want to set some goals, and you figure out what you want to do. Now, I think we talked about this before. Business planning clinics, right? For your real estate sales business planning clinics. They're like, hey, how much money do you want to make selling real estate? Great, right? What are your taxes? What are your expenses? And all that kind of stuff. So that's all right. So if you want to make $100,000. But you got to pay taxes, and you have your expenses and everything else. We're going to add those on there. So you really got to make, $150,000, right? Then you're going to give, X amount to your broker, right? So you're going to give 16,000 to your broker. So add 16,000 to that. So now you got to make 166,000, right? so you're going through and look, all right, so that's the amount I need to make. So what's my average commission per transaction? Great. So how many transactions will it take at my average commission to make that much GCI, right? How do I make that much total GCI? And then you're breaking it down into how many, then you're multiplying that times your average sales price to get your total volume, right? And then you're figuring out your units, right? How many units does it take? Blah, 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 right? You go through your whole thing, and then you're figuring out, okay, so based on that, how many listings do I need to sell? How many buyers do I need to close? Right? You're going through, if you haven't done a business planning clinic, this is like business planning clinic 101. This is how they all go. You break it down, then you go, good. So I need to sell X number of houses. And so great. How many appointments do I need to go on to sell that? Right? How many listings do I need to take to sell that many listings? How many buyers do I need to get a buyer's agency with to close that many buyers? What are my conversion ratios? Then I need to figure out how many appointments I need to go on to get those, right? How many do I need to have? So how many appointments do I need to go on to get those? Great. So now I know how many people I need to talk to in order to go through all the things that happen in my business to close the number of sales I need to close to make the amount of money I want to make. Right? Does that make sense? Business standpoint? Okay, everybody tracking with me? So we're going to apply that same concept here. Okay. If you look at how many, and it's simpler, we don't need to go through all those gyrations. If you just look at it, I mean, you're going to say, hey, how much money do I want to make? Right? What's my freedom number and how soon do I want to get there? Great. Well, if my freedom number, not your reason number, this freedom number is your smaller number. That is when I've made enough to cover my expenses, right? So now I've got time freedom to apply other places like Rick was talking about. Rick, sorry. So great. So now I'm gonna look at it and say, great. So if that's how much I need to make based on the different levels and everything else, how many agents do I need to have at my different levels to produce that much money? And so I'm going to be posting tonight the calculator. Remember, you guys cannot share that calculator. You can share it on a screen with someone. You could show it to someone on a laptop in front of them, but you may not email it to them or anything else. So I will give it to you with your consent that you will not do any of those things. But you can play with it, calculate it, do the whatever. You can play with different number of people on different levels. You can play with how productive they are from a percentage of cappers. Are they 25% cappers, 50% cappers, 80% cappers, whatever you want to do. You can play with those numbers and it will give you the revenue share output that you will get on every level and then the total. Okay. And so you can track it over time. What if I only have this many, but I have no one on levels 4, 5, 6, and 7? Okay, you can do all those things. You're going to break that down, and then you're going to go, okay, so how soon do I want to get to my freedom number? Based on that, and where I am today, how many people do I need to add in each of my different levels? Right? You're not going to add them all on level 1, but how many do you need to add on level 1? What percentage of those people, what's the average that those people are going to add, right? Again, some people add no people. Some people will add a ton of people. And most people will be somewhere in the middle. Okay. Figure out the averages for doing this and say, well, you know what? Based on all those things on average, they're going to bring on 1 or 2 or half of, 0.5 or 3 or whatever you think your number is going to be based on who you're going after, who you think your audience is, who your sphere is, etc. And then how many of those going to bring, et cetera. How's that going to track? Okay. Then if it flows from who you bring in, those are your frontline agents. Everything flows from your frontline agents and then who they bring. So based on that, how many people do you need to bring in every month? And you might say, I just need to bring in 1 a quarter, right? 4 agents a year on my front line. 1 a quarter. So every month I need to bring in 0.33, right? That's okay. Now I know you can't bring in a third of an agent, but you could bring in 3 third cappers, or you could say, hey, every quarter I need to bring in 1 agent. Now I urge you not to wait till the 3rd month of the quarter to get your 1 agent, right? Front end load it, because some quarters you'll get 3 people and some quarters you'll get 0 people. Some quarters you'll get 2. And some quarters you'll get 1. You don't know. So just front end load it, do the best you can, but you want to average it out. And if that's going to be your goal, to make sure I want to get 4 by the end of the year on my front line, and I want to help each of them get, right? Lars talked about saying, hey, I want to bring in 30 and I want each of them to bring in 5. Right. So I want 150 agents in my first 2 lines. Right. Did I do that right? No, 150, 180. Right. 150 in your second line plus 30. I can do math. All right. Give me a percentage or a dollar amount and I can do it. All right. So 180 agents. Great. So that's a target. 180 agents. I want to go get 30 who each get 5. And so that puts me at 180 agents. So then you break that down and say, good. So how many is that per month? And if they're each going to get 5, how quickly are they going to get their 5? How many do they need to get each month? So what do you need to help them with? Right? Does that make sense? So everyone's number is your own number. It doesn't matter what it is, it's your number. Okay. But what you want to know is, what does it take to get that number? You don't want to be like the agent who gets to the end of the year and says, what's on my 1099? How much did I make? Right? You want to have a plan of what you're building and what it's going to take to build it. If you know how much you need to make to pay your bills, and you know how much you get on average every sale, how many sales do you need? You better make sure you're tracking to get those sales so you're paying your bills. Okay. So same deal here. How are you going to do it? Figuring out how to have the conversations up. That's the next step. This is just, you just have to figure out what you need first. How urgently do I need to get on this? How much time do I need to allocate from my schedule to do this? And, where am I, where do I start? What do I start doing and all that kind of stuff? Well, that all comes down to what your needs are. Okay. All right. So then you want to start tracking. At first, you won't know your numbers because you don't have any. If you've never done this before, you have no idea, and that's okay. All right. So you're going to work at it. Just track, and you'll get better at it over time as well. But, how many agents do I need to talk to? How many agents do I need to approach to find one who says, yeah, you know what? Actually, I am interested in talking about my business. I am interested in seeking something else. I am a little fed up with where I am, or I am not getting what I need, or I am, I have heard great things about this, or I did see you went over there, and if you did it, I'm definitely curious. All those things, right? How many of those do you need to talk to get one person to say, yes, I will talk to you, right? Whether they meet you face to face, they do a phone call with you, they do a third-party call, any of those things. How many does it take to have that conversation? Then when you have those conversations, how many of those does it take to get one person to say yes? Okay. And I encourage you to, put on some armor against rejection. Okay. They are not rejecting you. Okay. When you go into a neighborhood and you say, I'm going to start door knocking this neighborhood, you're door knocking to build relationships and help people. So if you go in and say, I want to get to know all the fine people that live in this beautiful neighborhood, and I want to see if there's anything I can do to help them, real estate or not. If they go, no, we just moved in, we love our house, but do you know any electricians? And you go, yeah, I have an awesome electrician. Tell you what, let me connect you with my friend. Give me your information. I'm going to connect you with my electrician and do whatever. That's great. How can I help you? Whatever. And they go, oh, no, we really love it here. We are looking for a different church. Oh, great. What are you looking for? Right. Who cares? Help the people in the neighborhood, build relationships. It'll help you over time one way or another. Okay. So the same, but you don't expect, if you go into a neighborhood with 300 homes, you're not going to knock on 300 doors and get 300 listings. They don't all want to move. They don't need to move. Okay. And if they wanted to move, you might not be the agent that they work with. They might have a best friend or a cousin or someone else who's a realtor. They might be a realtor. You never know. They might not need you. So it's the same thing with agents. When you talk to agents, they don't all need to move. Some of them are super happy, thriving. They're at the best place. I love EXP. I think it's the best brokerage out there. Right. But you know what? Someone might be at the best brokerage for them. It's working great for them. So all you do is say, hey, I'm so pumped for you that you found a place that's great for your business. I hope we get to do some business together. I hope whatever, if we do some things back and forth, who knows? Awesome. Love building that. Anything I can ever do for you, let me know. Our relationship has nothing to do with what logo you have on your business card. Okay. And it never should. All right. So if you talk to someone and they go, I'm not interested, they're not going, you're ugly and you smell funny. They're saying, I'm happy, or I'm good, or I don't need that, or I'm not interested, whatever it is. Totally fine. Just know, just like knocking on a neighborhood with 300 doors, they're not all going to move. They're not all going to want to talk to you about it. They're not all going to move. And that's totally fine. If you think about it like door knocking, then when people say no, you're like, well, that's perfectly normal that you said no, because I'm not, I mean, the last two people said yes. If you had said yes, it would be weird. So, right? So totally fine. But then say, hey, if I can ever help you, right? Is there anything I could help you with? No. Well, if there ever is, let me know. Or if they say, whatever, anything like that, build a relationship. That's, it'll always come back to help you. And this is a relationship business. Okay. So just be ready for that. Now, as you're bringing people on, okay, you're going to bring on, let's say I brought on Krista. Okay. So Krista comes on, I bring on Krista. I'm so excited. She's coming over here. She's a great agent. She's selling houses. She's doing all kinds of cool stuff. And I'm like, man, this is really great. And then I'm like, all right, Krista, who are we going to go get? And Krista's like, I just want to sell houses. All right. I just want to sell houses. I'm not interested. And I'm like, no, you have to go get someone. You're crazy if you don't get revenue share. You got to go do this. Come on. Who are we going to get? She's like, all right, I guess I'll try to talk to people. Some other agents from my office. I guess I'll do whatever. And she's doing it, and she's uncomfortable, and she doesn't really care about it, and everything else. And I'm making her feel guilty. I'm making her feel maybe like she's missing out on things, and I'm making her do things that make her uncomfortable, and she's not happy. And eventually, she's like, I just want to come sell real estate. Can't we sell real estate? I'm leaving. I'm going back to my old company, or I'm going somewhere else where they don't pressure me to recruit people because I don't want to be a recruiter. Okay. So not everyone wants to do it. Sometimes they want to do it, but they're super uncomfortable and they don't know how, right? It's part of the reason I teach this class, right? Some of you may be sitting there going, this makes me really uncomfortable, but I want to figure it out. So I'm super proud of you for being here to learn it. Okay. I was uncomfortable doing it the first time too, right? I started off recruiting. I was recruiting people. I was in my mid-20s and I was recruiting people in their mid-50s, right? They had been in the business longer than I had been alive. And they looked at me and said, what are you going to teach me, little kid? Right? I'm going to come over and learn from you. Okay, great. Sounds great. Right? So, they'd come in the room and they'd be like, is your dad coming? So, right? So, it could be uncomfortable, but here's the thing. So you need to figure out, what their goals are, where they're going when they're coming over. How do I help you achieve your goals? Right? Fund your reason. Maybe funding their reason is selling a lot of houses and getting stock. And maybe through doing that, other people are attracted to them because they're doing a great job and they go, hey, you've really been killing it. What's going on? Oh, well, EXP has been a great platform for me. And they go, cool, I'm really interested. And Krista goes, awesome. I don't really talk about that stuff, but Dave's super nice guy. You can talk to him. Right. And she sends those people to me. I recruit them. They go under Krista and she's getting revenue share. Right? I call them accidental recruiters. Go out, be a great human, work hard, take care of people, and people will want to hang out with you, and you're going to have an opportunity. And if you're never comfortable having the conversation, at least you understand how it all works. And you can go, yeah, there's some things. There's like, apparently it's really awesome. I don't really take advantage of it, but Dave knows all about this stuff. Talk to that guy, Dave. He's great, right? And then you do the endorsement thing, whatever. All right, but some of your people are going to go, right? Simon and I had a call. He's so pumped up about all the stuff. He pulled over on the side of the road somewhere to like, hey, I want to talk about this. I want to learn about this. Lars got me all fired up. He's doing all kinds of good stuff. And, like, talk to me about this. Right. And so, he's like, I couldn't get to where I needed to be. So side of the road, cars are flying by and he's like, yep, talk to me. Right. Right, Simon?
Yeah. Yep.
So Simon's
100%. That was it. Yeah, but it was a great conversation. Thank you again.
It was a great conversation. I finished that conversation pumped up. So, I mean, it's like, okay, who out of my circle of people are committed to growing? Who wants this? Who wants to go do this? Right now, those are the people we're really going to lean in on and make sure they're getting the information and support that they need to go do this. They're going to be the ones that grow your lines. Remember, we talked about people like, Sheila and Elizabeth and everything else. Great agents. They've recruited some other great people, but so much, even any of our builders, right? Any of our builders, it wasn't about them bringing in 1,000 people. They all have smaller front lines, but they have a few people, 1 to 5 people that went out and built stuff. I mean, I sat there with Brent and he has his entire organization out on a huge whiteboard and everything else. And we've gone through all of his numbers and he's showed me all of these are my top builders. And I was expecting, at the time he had, he had like 12,000 people in his organization. So I was expecting him to have like all of these circles of his top people with thousands of people in there. And he's like, this is one of my top builders. They had 121 agents in their organization. They're one of his top builders. Okay. So it's like, you have to understand that it's that duplication of multiple people who bring in multiple people. It's really the opportunity is really built by people who have a few hundred, right? I'm trying to turn the, less than 200 to less than 500, right? You have a bunch of those people, but think about it. If I have 5 people in my organization that each get 100 agents, which I mean, from where where you start from, 100's a lot, but from a big organization like, Brent's got 19,000, 100, he gets 100 in an afternoon, okay, in his organization. So someone's got an organization, and not frontline agents, I'm talking whole organization. Someone's got an organization, someone's got a full organization of 100 agents, but I have 5 of them in my front line. 5 people, they go get 100. Well, that's 500, right? Now, if each of them found each of those people out of their 100 they got 2 builders that got 100. That's another 1,000, right? That's 1,500 agents. Okay, do some quick math. What's 1,500 times 700? What you got?
1,050,000.
There you go. All right. So there's your revenue share from that group. Okay, from that group. So it's not about saying I need to go get a bunch of people that are going to go get 19,000 in their group. It's about getting a handful. If I get 30 to unlock all my levels, and out of that 30, I had 3 that went and got 100, right? And they each got, out of those 3, they each had 3 out of their 100, their 100 people in their organization, right? And that group got 2. You're still talking about, like 2,000 agents. Okay. And so at that pace with that group, you have people with spheres of influence and a few people with a desire to go do it. It builds. Okay. It builds, and it starts to build really fast. If you haven't seen a compounding of a penny, again, go to our friend Google, right? GTS, right? Google that shit. All right. So go in, Google it, just do compounding of a penny. Just look at that and go through, and it shows you, okay, your penny, if it compounds at 100%, right? It just doubles every day. And see, okay, great. So I have 1 cent on day 1. On day 2, I have 2 cents. On day 3, I've got 4 cents, and I've got 8 cents. So you track through, it's like after 2 weeks, it's like, oh my gosh, I have, $700 or whatever, right? It's like, it's not that big, but by the end, you've got like 10 million. At the end of a month, okay? So the number adds up really, really fast as it goes through. So it feels slow at first. Okay. You can say, hey, I doubled my organization size. I went from 1 to 2. That's awesome. Keep doubling it, right? Just go after the doubling it, and you go from 2 to 4. Amazing. I doubled it again. And it may feel like, oh, now I'm only at 4. No, you doubled your organization. You doubled it. Okay. If you stay on that pace, if those 4 each go get 1, you've got 8. Right? Now, out of those 8, if half of them get 2, right? You're at 16. Awesome. So you have to look at, that growth and understand that that's how it goes. All right. And then how are you going to help them? What's your plan? If you want to find people that are going to be builders, how do you help? What are you going to do to help them build? Okay. Who are you going to connect them with? How do you get them plugged in? How do you make sure they get their questions answered? How are they getting support? How do all those things come together? Okay. So you want to think about that. What are we doing? And I'm going to encourage you guys to not reinvent the wheel. Okay. Right now, the fire group, the reason that we call it the fire group, it's all around the concept of fund your reason. But the reason we call it the fire group is it's not like you have the Brent Gove organization, you have Gene Frederick organization, right? You have all this other stuff like that. This is not the Dave Conord organization, because I have no desire to be the leader at the top, with a fancy hat telling everyone what to do, right? That is, that is not the goal of building this. This is a freedom, opportunity. We want to build a platform. This is a legacy that I want to leave, where other people get to come onto this platform and go build something great. Right. So I am super excited about the day that I fade into anonymity. Right. And so this is not, I'm not looking to be famous. I'm not looking to be up on stage. I've been blessed to have plenty of time to, dance around on stage and have people look at me and tell me I was wonderful. Right. I also know that the day you step away from that, people stop telling you you're wonderful. So, it's what I want is, a platform where other people who are excited about pouring into others and helping others thrive and succeed can stand on this platform and help other people succeed on the platform. We want to build a platform that brings in other leaders who help other people, that attract other leaders, who help other people, who attract other leaders, that help other people. And this platform goes on and it will build and it will get huge when we do that, right? And so we're looking for people that want to step up, right? You want to be a leader? Great. Here's the cool thing. Like there's no titles. I don't have a title. Nobody's got a title. There's no position. It is when you step up and do things, when you lead and people follow you, you're a leader. Right. And so, I have people tell me I want to be a leader. And I'm like, great. Lead. Do it. Stand up and lead. People follow you and you're a leader. You're going to get my support. If you're doing the work and people are following you, you're going to get my support until you don't need it. Right. And then you're going to lead into your leaders and you're going to help them grow and build and everything else. It's an incredible opportunity. So you don't have to go and reinvent the wheel. Okay. At some point, Kristen and I do a lot of stuff now, and Kristen does a ton, and if you've worked with her on bringing people on or anything else like that, all the structure, all the things we do, she's making all of those things happen. That's what she does. She's running around constantly making sure all the stuff is together and constantly making sure no matter what level people are coming in on, she's helping them join. I mean, people that kind of like, they're like, they catch a fish, they throw it in the boat, and then they're going back and fishing again. And that's great. That's what we want. We want people, hey, if you're good at catching fish, go catch fish. We'll figure it out, right? Throw them over the boat, right? Now, at some point, we got enough fish coming in. Kristen can't do all that on her own. We're going to leverage some stuff. We'll get some VAs. We'll do some other things. But our goal is not to build a huge or expensive organization of staff and everything else. It's to lift up other people who know how to do it and bring in their people and their supporting and that kind of stuff. But we're putting all the systems in place. We're putting the technology in place and all of those things so that you have a platform to do that on. And then, just like what we do with Fire, we're building Fire on EXP's platform. At some point, and I have been told multiple times by the people that are out ahead of us that it should never be, again, you can do whatever you want. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying this is what they have said to me. It should never be before you have 100 people in your organization, right? You just don't, if you spend time going back and trying to put systems together and do all these other things, you're just pulling away your growth time. Go grow your organization, go talk to agents, help your people that are interested in growing, help them grow, and forget about all the other stuff. If you're spending too much time coaching and too much time, whatever, and all that kind of stuff, then you're just pulling away from you got to get it to a certain amount and a certain scale. Otherwise it'll stall. Okay. So leverage what we've got. We leverage the people ahead of us until we got, out over 100, and then boom. Okay. Okay, great. Now we're out there. Now, what do we do? So we want to help you guys get to 100 as quickly as possible. And then the goal is that while at that point, you may add your own stuff to it, right? We're not discouraging our people. Like we're telling agents in the group, you should go to the big agent meeting, right? You should get plugged in. You should go to EXPCon. You should go to the regional rally. You should use all of the tools and services that EXP provides you. You should, get tied into revenue. She should learn all of these different things, get to know the leadership team, do all of those things. So we are not trying to replace EXP. We're only enhancing. So the goal will be, as your organizations grow, that you don't replace fire and step away, but you enhance it. Right? How many of you go to General Gene's calls from time to time on Mondays? Anybody jump into those? Right. Okay. So that, that's, you have we're all part of the Gene Frederick organization. He's my sponsor. So when we got to a certain point, we're like, cool, we can do a lot of our own meetings. We can do a lot of our own stuff, but we're not saying leave Gene stuff. Don't hang out with Gene. We're proud of being part of that group. Anyway, so that's what you're looking at. Like, how do you grow it? How do you support it and everything else? Don't feel like you have to go like, all right, if I'm going to get serious about revenue share, I need to go build a business. I need to go build a structure. I need to start coaching my people. I need to start training. I need to start having my own meetings, because I got to tell you, like, just creating like the communication structure to spread the word to everyone in the group about the different things that we have going on, and creating the logos and creating the pieces to let, Fire Fridays with the person that's going to be on there. I mean, getting those people and figuring out who's going to speak every Friday on Fire Fridays, getting the bullet points from them, getting photographs, getting stuff, setting the things out, coordinating all of those things, doing the recording, setting up the YouTube page, right? Sending up the video to the YouTube page. There's a lot of administrative work behind that. If you don't already have the group going, you're going to go, it's easy to get sucked into those things and stop focusing on lead generation and growing your business. So let us do that lifting for you right now, and let us help you get people over. Let us help do the third party and all that other kind of stuff. And then as you start getting traction, start getting going, that's when you get great. Now, how do I lean in? I want to start teaching some classes. I want to start doing X, Y, and Z. So I don't want to prevent people. I want people who are leaders to be seen as leaders. And I want, when your organization and the people they brought on, when they show up, they go, oh, like, this isn't the Dave show. This is the Fire show. And that person that I came under, I know ultimately I'm down like somewhere in Dave's downline, but I want them to be really proud of being in your downline. I want you to be adding value to the group, and them to see you and your leadership in the group and the different ways you can contribute. So that's why we create this platform where it's a community and everyone leans in and does their part in the community. All right. Does all that make sense? Cool. Any parts where you want to lean in, any things that you want to do, any questions you have on different things or whatever it is, if you have ideas of things that we could be adding, if you go, well, the group isn't doing this, so I'd really like to go create that because I think that's important. If it's something that can add value to the entire organization, no matter what state you're in and everything else, then like bring that, great, let's launch it. We'll help you launch it and we'll help you get access to it. Like with Benny, he said, hey, I want to start coaching on KV Core and I want to start teaching on that. And I really want to lean in on this for my people. He's doing it for his group. And I said, well, cool, but can you do it for the whole group? And he said, yeah, of course. And so now he's doing it for the whole group. It's amazing. Right. So that's where we can add and be stronger and stronger and stronger. All right. So you want to schedule your time to make your contacts. This is your business. You have lead generation time for sales. You have lead generation time for agents. Okay. You need to do both. However, you're generating business. Now, maybe you're great at marketing. I'm going to encourage you to, first and foremost, stay with what you know. What works for you works for you. If you're good at it, do it. Translate that across to attracting agents and do what you're already good at. I love doing the marketing. I love doing social media. I love going out and talking to people. I love meeting, people at these events. I, get a lot of business from this community that I'm in, right? This group. Wonderful. Do the same thing, all the same processes. You may have to slightly shift some things or do whatever, or do something parallel over here to what you do over there. But what is it about that you like? What is it about that you're good at? How did you get to the point to be entrenched in that? How do you create that over here? Or how do you join another one over here that has to do with agents, right? But stay with what you know, stay in your strength zone. And then as you really get the most out of that, then you start to layer on additional ways to build relationships and talk to agents and that kind of stuff, right? So there may be some, you may be stepping over opportunity right now that's right in front of you. So how do you find that? Remember, pick. All right. Schedule times to do your Zooms, right? I've got Calendly set up. Calendly. I've got times every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday afternoon for you guys. So you guys can just grab my Calendly and I'll do a third-party endorsement for you, right? You put on there, you enter in all the information. I've got questions on there for you guys to fill out. So when you grab the Calendly link and you schedule it for me to talk to someone with you. You're going to be on the call with them and me. You're going to do the introduction and make me sound like I walk on water, right? I will, in kind, compliment you and talk about how amazing you are and everything else like that. So we're we're all making each other feel nice, making it, what a great community, all that kind of stuff. But you're going to give me all the information about the person that I'm talking to, what kind of conversations you've had with them already, what they're looking for, what's important to them, what they don't like, yada, 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 so that I walk into the call knowing how to help them in this progress. All right. So who do you talk to? Who do you talk to? Okay. This is your friends who are agents, right? People from your former brokerage, because they're kind of wondering, how's it going over there, right? Some thought you were crazy. Some thought you were brave. Some went, oh, I've wanted to go over there, but I'm afraid to change brokerages. How is it, right? You jump in the water and they go, how is it, right? What's the first thing, like especially early on in the season, for those of us that are not like down in the Caribbean, if you go to the beach and you go out, you're like, I'm getting in the water. You get in the water and then you come back from the water and everyone's sitting on their towels and their chairs. What's the first question they ask you? Everybody's muted.
How's the water?
100 times out of 100 as the first, how's the water, right? Was it cold? Right? Everyone wants to know. So you go over and you change brokerage. Everyone wants to know, how is it? How is it over there, right? And so the way you respond matters. Okay, just they're watching and you might go, they're not interested in moving, they're making small talk, they're the XYZ, they would never go, like whatever thoughts you have in your head, or maybe you're just not thinking about it. And they go, how is it? And you're like, yeah, it's good. I mean, maybe it's great, but you're just busy. And so you're not really thinking of it. If you're like, no, it's been good. They're going to go, all right. Like, have you ever, at a restaurant and you ask the server and you're like, hey, I was thinking about getting this chicken. Is it good? And they went, yeah, no, that's good. You're like, all right, I'll take this instead. Right? I'm not going to order the chicken when they made it sound like it was the most bland, horrible thing on the menu. Right? But what happens when you're like, oh, I'm leaning towards the chicken. What are your thoughts on the chicken? And they go, oh, best dish on our menu. Seriously, I have that all when I'm on break and I get to get my food here. That's what I order. But I get it with this on it and I do X, Y, and Z and it's amazing. And you're like, oh my gosh, that sounds awesome. All right, yes, I'm in. I'm getting that. Correct? All right, am I right? Okay. So if someone says, hey, how do you like it over at EXP or how's that going for you? You got to respond like it's the best thing on the menu, right? You got to be like, oh my, it's amazing. I am so glad I made the move. Best decision I ever made. Seriously, it's been awesome. Okay. If you had some bumps on your transition joining over, that is not the time where you go, the transition was a little bumpy. I'm going to be on, like, that is not the time. That is not the time to tell them that. I'm not saying lie to them and say everything was perfect. You don't have to say something that wasn't true, but you don't have to point out any of the negatives, right? Like, let's say an agent, let's say a potential seller says, hey, so thinking about selling our house. Have are you a good listing agent? And you're like, yeah, I'm pretty good. I mean, some of the listings I had probably could have sold for more if I'd done a better job marketing, to be honest with you. And the pictures are sometimes blurry, they are not listing with you, right? Like, hello, that, you may have learned some things and then you can help them avoid that. Like, hey, if the transition was bumpy, what do you learn from that? How do you make sure they don't have a bumpy transition? Don't worry about that, but don't tell them the transition's bumpy, right? You don't have to go to the negatives. And some of us just do that naturally in conversation. Or like, oh, I didn't want to mislead them. Well, it's not about, you're not lying to them. Just, you don't have to immediately go. They're looking for your reaction. So if your first reaction is to think about the negatives, they're going to go, oh, that doesn't sound very good. I'm going to this company instead. I'm thinking about changing companies. I asked an agent from that company how they liked it, and it didn't sound too excited, right? But if you're like, best move ever, I'm just pissed that I didn't go earlier. I just wished I had joined, 2 years ago. I'd have so much more money in my pocket. My business would be thriving. I wouldn't have had all that frustration I had, whatever it is. Like, I love it. Oh my gosh, the people are amazing. The company's really awesome. It's just been awesome. Like I said, you don't have to make anything up. You don't have to lie, but share enthusiasm for the company. Point out the things about the company, the group, the whatever that you love, and just hone in on that. That's all you got to do. Your sheer enthusiasm, like with the server who loves the chicken, if they go, well, if they go, I'm kind of going between the chicken or the steak. And they're like, oh, the chicken. Seriously? Chicken's the best thing ever, right? If I could just eat that every day for the rest of my life, I would be happy. And you're like, really? It's that good? And they're like, seriously, I get it all the time. Sometimes I get it twice when I'm here, right? You're like, really? Yeah, it's so good. It's this, it's that, it's got whatever, it's amazing. And you're like, I was leaning towards a steak, but you sold me. I'm in, I'm getting the chicken, right? So if they're going, I'm either thinking about making a move or not making a move, and I'm not sure, and I'm a little bit nervous about making a move, or I'm gonna make a move and I'm thinking about here or there. Your enthusiasm for it will seal the deal. You don't have, like, I gotta tell you, people worry so much about the recruiting appointment or the appointment and the talking about the stuff and the meeting and all those things. Man, when I'm excited about something and I'm really enthusiastic about it, I mean, I've had people like we go into something and we talk about some things and I'm like, oh, this and that, that's so awesome. Now, you don't want to throw up EXP all over and we'll talk about the needs analysis and stuff, but just your enthusiasm for it. I've had people go like, all right, great. So I've decided I'm gonna join. And they were just going, I was thinking between here and here. I don't know all the details yet about your company, but you're so pumped up about them that seals the deal for me. I'm definitely going there. Now I need the details. I've been in recruiting appointments with someone where they got to that point super early on, didn't have to go through hardly anything. And they were like, all right, so, that sounds really, really great. I'll tell you what, look, I was leaning towards this anyway. I'm going to go ahead and join EXP. So I got a couple questions. What are the commission splits? They have no idea what they're getting into, but they're so like honestly, I can tell you, I've had that happen hundreds of times. They don't even know, like, what are the monthly costs? They're asking all these other, like, I'd have a couple of questions and I'm like, oh, you really knew nothing about us, right? But our relationship and my enthusiasm, it's all it took. Okay, so just remember. All right, talking with them, co-brokers, anyone you're doing a deal with, and there's timing on that and everything else. We'll talk more about that on one of the next calls. But it's when you're in the middle of negotiating a deal and things are tense, you don't want to be like, so you thought about moving to EXP, right? We're gonna have a little bit of couth when we have those conversations. But building a relationship with them during it, and then afterwards, like the compliments, making them look good in front of their clients and all that kind of stuff. One of those things. I mean, I loved it. I had agents where like I would be in the room as a manager and like the agents in the room, and my agent would go to the copy machine to get the stuff. And the other agent from the other company would look at my agent's clients and say, man, you're so lucky to work with them. How do you guys know each other? Oh, this and that, whatever. Seriously, I love doing deals with them. Like, you should always work with them when you buy or sell a house. If you sell this house you're buying today, make sure you sell it with them. They're like ultimate professional. Everybody loves getting a contract from them, and that kind of stuff. I'll be honest, like, we had a couple of contracts come in and some of them were pretty close, but we went with you guys strictly because of your agent. Like, I mean, whatever it was, that comments and everything else like that, man, like that client's going to tell that agent, like, they were so complimentary of you. Really? Well, that's so nice of them. Well, guess what? When you say, hey, let's go get some coffee, they're going to go, of course. Relationships. All right. Affiliated partners. I talked about that, right? Mortgage, title, inspectors, anybody who might know about agents want to do something. Agents in a targeted category, right? Who are you building? Are you looking for icon agents and you want to talk about, if you're an icon and you want to talk about the icon opportunity and all the cool stuff and the stock and everything else, great, go after icon agents. Luxury agents, great, go after luxury agents and talk about luxury. Commercial agents, whatever. New agents, pick your niche. It doesn't matter, but there may be a category where you say, hey, that's really where I want to talk to agents doing that. Maybe it's just in your, like, I really would love to have a bunch of agents. I don't have a bunch of EXP agents right around me in my market. I want to go get a bunch. I want us to be able to hang out. I want us to, wagon train up to the class, to the build event going up there. We're all going to, rent an RV or, something like that. Great. All right. General approaches, right? The did you know? Like, oh, hey, did you know? Blah, 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 right? Did you know that EXP created this revenues program and they're expecting to have over $2 billion in referrals to pass out to agents at EXP? Isn't that amazing? No, I didn't know that. Oh, yeah, here, you can go to revenues.com. You can read all about it. It's fascinating. Oh, okay. Yeah, and that's, I mean, this is only going to be their first full year having revenues, and they should have 2 billion, right? I mean, they're going to take this to a $5 billion worth of, referrals coming out of here, right? I mean, boom. Wow. That's fascinating. Did you know? Did you know this? Did you know that? Huh. That's cool. All right. Did you know 2 years ago there were only 500 EXP agents in the entire state, and now there's 4,000? Isn't that crazy? Right? Oh, I didn't know that. Right? Whatever. Pick your thing. Doesn't matter. Did you know? How's your business? Like, oh, hey, so good to see you. Everything else. But hey, how's your business? How's everything going? How's it been? Market's been funky. How's everything going? What are you finding? What are you working on this year? What are your goals? Or, for people that just moved over, or you're thinking, whatever, you're like, hey, I'd love to get your opinion on this. Maybe it's, hey, I'm thinking about doing this thing over here that our company's doing. Can I have your opinion? Like, I'm thinking about going and getting the certification, but I'm trying to decide if it's worth it. If I showed you, I really respect your opinion. If I showed you this program, would you give me your opinion on whether you think it'd be worth my time? Then you explain these programs where they're giving out all these leads, and they're like, are you kidding? Why would you not do that? This is incredible. As a matter of fact, tell me more about EXP, right? All right. Who do you know? Who's amazing? Who's moving? Who's unhappy, right? These are with your affiliated partners. Okay, finding out who they know. And if you're talking to some other agent who's a friend of yours and they're like, hey, we can still go get beers together, but if you start talking about EXP, I'm going to dump my beer in your head. Do not talk to me about not moving companies. Do not try to recruit me. And you're like, all right, cool. Now that we have that settled, right? We can go hang out together still. Totally fine, right? But then you're going, look, so I know you're not going to go, but who should I be talking to? Seriously, who's in your office that is fed up? Just feed me people, right? We're friends. I know you're not moving. After a while, they're going to be like, they're going to be like, well, why didn't you tell me about this thing? And you're like, well, you told me you were never moving. And they're like, no, I'm interested. Talk to me about it. Or they're going to sit down one day and they're going to go, okay, fine. Just give me your spiel. Go ahead. They're curious. Okay. If you really don't talk to them about it, it'll come up. So agents in a targeted category, again, how's your business? Are you hoping to make more? Are you looking for leverage? All that kind of stuff, right? Where are you trying to go with this? What are your goals? When do you want to, what's your exit strategy? How are you getting out of the business, right? It's not all about getting people to stop selling real estate. It's about allowing people to be able to stop selling real estate when they want to, right? Or when they need to. Man, medical emergency for themselves or for their spouse or for their kids or whatever it is. You got to take time off, right? Or you have to stop selling, or you have to move, or you have to whatever. What do you do? Are you ready for that right now? It can happen to anyone. Man, we had the worst, most sad story ever. One of our good friends who's a lender up this way, his 2-year-old son died suddenly, right? It's like just happened. It's gut-wrenching. I can't even talk about it, but I just got to tell you, like, man, like you do not plan for those things. I had a boating accident, almost died, right? I've been on a boat since I was born. I grew up on the water. Right? I had never thought about dying on the water. I was the stupidest daredevil on the water because I grew up with it. I didn't think twice about it. Second nature. And I almost died in an instant. Right? And world comes to a screeching halt. Are you prepared for that? Right? So, like, nobody plans to have something like that happen. So on Thursday, all right, I'm going to smash my head into a boat. Right? Nobody plans for that. It's not on your calendar. So what happens? Are you ready for that? I don't know, and so that's one of those things like, what do you do? People go, oh, well, you guys are all about recruiting. You're all about, all this, you know, revenue share and not about selling houses. Like, no, 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 we're all about selling houses. But man, I don't know what your, you know, I don't know what your policies are, retirement policies and everything else at your brokerage, but I never been at one that has a really good retirement structure for realtors, right? So, you know, are you in a spot with your insurance and with your, you know, other income and money in the bank and this and that, whatever, where you need that? I don't know. That's just the basics. Then think beyond that. Are you making enough that you can do the stuff that you want to do? Or do you have the time? Or you're working your tail off? You're making a lot of money. That's wonderful. But you look a little stressed out. How much time are you taking to go do? Do you have a hobby anymore? Right? Has real estate become your hobby because you have no time? All right, you get the picture. So you want to look at your market. I know we're hitting up at the end of the end of our time here, so I'll go through this quick, but I just want to explain what it is so you can dig back in. You'll have all of these charts out to you today. But look at your local market, okay? And it, you know, it could be wherever you're recruiting from. Doesn't have to be your local market, whatever market you're going after. That's the beauty of this. You can go anywhere. So how many agents are producing in these different volume brackets, right? So how many people are doing, how many agents in your area are doing 0 to 1 sale, right? How many are doing 1 to 3 or 4 or whatever it is, right? How many are doing? So break them down to these brackets. And then what is the percent? How many agents total are in your local market? And a lot of times you can get this from your MLS. You can look at different productions and stuff like that. If you can't get these, sometimes I do have some things that allow me to pull some reports. And you can go to Market View Broker and there's a little thing that you can do. Usually you can just get your own market. But if you want, I mean, Bright MLS, if you remember Bright, it's a big category. So if you can get your local MLS stuff, you can get that for a fee. But anyway, break it down and you look at, say, okay, how many total agents are in my local market? And what percentage of them fall into each of these categories? What's my total count? Because I just say, you know, you've seen some of these graphics for, you know, how do you price your home right? And maybe you've seen the one with the boat and the hook, and you drop your hook in the water, and you want to price your house right, so you're going to catch the most fish, right? So for this home and for this neighborhood and for this market and blah, 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 we want to price your house so that it's going to attract the most people. If we price it too high, then there's fewer fish there. And if we price it too low, then, you know, you're not going to get the money you want or whatever it is. Like this, in this area, this is what people are looking for. Here's what we're going to price it. Pricing strategy games. Okay. So same deal here. You're looking at it and saying, hey, I want to go attract agents. Well, who are most of the agents in your local market? Right? What's your biggest group? Okay. So knowing where your agents are, and here's the thing, I'm getting you guys into the science. There's an art to agent attraction, and there is a science. What I want to do for you guys, and we will talk more and more about this over time, for those of you that are really interested in geeking out on this, I will take this to the most ridiculous level. I promise you. If you want to, I will go there with you. All right. I've done this and I've taught this for 2 decades. Okay. And I've tracked it and track the numbers and track the processes, track the systems, track what worked and all the other stuff. You can go through and do all the reporting, because what I want to do is I want to move one time and get 5,000 people, right? So we have one of the fastest growing groups, percentage wise, in all of EXP. Okay. Because we're being systematic about it and we're growing it. So we're going to keep doing this. We have some really cool things going on. All right. So here's the thing. Know where the agents are in your market. Okay. Understand who you need to be, who you have opportunity with, where are your opportunities. Okay. And then, you know, okay, great. So there's a bajillion agents doing 0 to 1 transactions. Is that the market you want to be in? I'm going to say maybe not. Okay. Now, if you're structured to find people just getting into the business and you want to, you know, you have a whole system to get them funneled through and get them in quickly into transactions, you can turn them into half cappers and then turn half cappers into cappers. And that's what you want to do. That's a full-time job. It's a big undertaking, but it's the fastest way to get bodies, not always the fastest way to make income. If you have a really good structure, you can. Okay. So I'm not against it. I'm just saying you need to know what you're getting into. The next 2 tiers, maybe the next 3 tiers, right? Start to make a little more sense. I would say tiers 3 and 4, the 1.2 to 3 and the 3 to 5, that's your sweet spot. Those are the easiest. Now, they're not going to have the most influence per se. Okay. They may or may not, but Typically, obviously, higher producing agents. They say A's get A's, B's, C's, and D's, B's gets B's, C's, and D's, C's get C's and D's, etc. Right? From a production volume standpoint. But that swath right there, a 1.2 to 5, that is usually the bulk of agents, not including the 50% of agents that do nothing, right? But we don't need bodies. It's not about collecting bodies, right? It's people who are in the business, doing the business, want to do more business. And if they're doing 1.5 million right now, they're probably a $3 million producer last year, right? A lot of people dropped off quite a bit. Market comes back, they're back up to a $3 million. Guess what? They're a capper. They're getting stock. They're getting all that kind of stuff. It's great. Okay. That's a great, but they're not doing so much business that it's hard to move. They're not spending, $500,000 to rebrand everything and redo all their custom websites and, 200 signs out on the marketplace and all that kind of stuff. Right. So it's a really good opportunity. These questions are all in here. So you've got this. These are the things that you want to think about. Okay. How many agents, what's your sweet spot, right? What are the production categories that you want to be attracting into? Okay. Then how many of those are you going to get every month or every quarter, whatever your time frame is, right? We talked about how many you want to get. And how many appointments do you need to schedule in order to make that happen based on what you think your conversion rates are, if you're not already doing it. This is really important. When you're targeting a specific group of agents, okay, production wise, you need to get in their heads. You need to understand, what do they want? If I'm producing at 2 million in volume, where's my head as an agent? What am I thinking? Right? How much income at the standard real estate company, standard brokerage, how much income am I making? What's my split typically? What am I getting from my company? How much recognition am I getting from my company? How much help, support, training, tools, everything else? How much am I paying them? And are those agents typically exactly where they want to be, or are they aspirational, where they're going, hey, I'm almost paying my bills in real estate. I'm almost, out of the woods. I'm almost whatever. I just need to get here. Like, what is it? What are they looking for? Do they need more leads? Do they need more support, training, this and that, whatever? Do they need expenses to be lower? Where are their heads? What do they want? What are they afraid of? Right? Because some people are going to be running towards people, and some people are going to be running away from people. Right? What are their fears? What are they most worried about? If they were to move, what would they? Well, if I moved over, I feel like I'm getting all my deals. My broker told me if I go here, then I won't get any of these leads. I'm like, yeah, but you're paying like 60% to your broker on those leads. Like, and you're not spending the time going out and generating good leads because you've gotten stuck on these crappy leads and you're giving away all your money. If you got one lead over here by yourself, it would make up for 3 leads over here that your broker is giving you. Do you think if we did X, Y, and Z, you could get 1 additional lead and replace those 3 sales that you got last year from that? Yes. All right, great. Now, if you can do it once, can you do it 2 or 3 times? Oh my gosh, you just doubled or tripled your income, right? Shift your focus. But what are they worried about? They're worried about losing this. They're worried about that, or, worried about leaving my friends. Maybe they won't talk to me. Whatever it is, you got to know that. What do they aspire to? Where are they trying to go? Okay. What can EXP do to help them? What do you personally have to offer them? Sometimes it's just connections. I can introduce you to the right people. I can get you in the right room, right? How will their lives be better here? And then where do you find them? Production level of agent, where are they typically hanging out? What brokerage are they at? Most of them are at Coldwell Banker. Most of them are at Keller Williams. Most of them are at whatever. Who knows? Most of them are at this, boutique brokerage. Figure out where they are. Now you're going to understand, well, what does that company offer? Why are agents there? Right? How are we different? How are we better? What are people unhappy with over there? Maybe the manager is a jerk. Maybe the manager was amazing, but they just retired. Right? What is it? Maybe they're cutting back on things because of cost. Maybe, who knows? Okay. And then who already knows them there? Who could I talk to that can make introductions and help make it a warm conversation? All right, real quick, because we're over. Strategy. Okay. Find the influential. Attract 1, get 5. Right? So if you find someone who can come over with that, they go, hey, everyone loves that person. They're like the Pied Piper. If that person, everybody loves it. If that person comes over, like, there are a bunch of people that are hanging out at the brokerage that go, hey, I could do business anywhere. I know my broker's not giving, I know people aren't working with me because of my broker, but I like it here because Bob's here. We love Bob. right? So, man, Jeremy's at this brokerage and I love Jeremy. And, we have a group here and we're, that's a lot of fun. Well, okay, well, what if you brought your friends with you and you could all make more money over here? Gosh, I hadn't even thought about that. Like, I don't know, I mean, there's no reason to move. We're not in pain. We're hanging out. We're loving what we have. Our broker's fine. But man, so I could do exactly what I'm doing here, but make an extra $20,000, because I've hit my cap. And, here where they don't have a cap over here, or the cap is higher or whatever, is make an extra 10,000, 20,000. Oh, and by the way, I'm also going to make a couple, $100 or a couple $1,000 worth of stock. Oh, and I could do revenue share, or, oh, you give me KV Core for free. I'm paying $600 a month for that right now. Huh. All right. I mean, sometimes it's like, it's going to cost me like, it's going to save me $2,000 to $3,000 a month, or $2,000 to $3,000 a year. But we could all be over here instead. That's cool. And we're all gonna save that money. Why not? Who knows? You need one to go that the rest will follow. Okay, so attract one, get five. So think about who your influential people are that have a following. Okay, and sometimes you don't know who their five are going to be, and then you meet their five, and one of their five is even bigger rock star or more influential than them. And you're like, awesome, I got you, I got the five, and then out of those five, one of them is going to go get 10. Cool. That's how it goes. All right. And every time you do that, by the way, it makes getting the next one easier, because that group, you want to make sure you're like, hey, are we talking about it? When people come over with us, we're talking about it. We're bragging on it. If you're bringing people over under you and you are not bragging about them coming over under you, you're missing opportunity, because people, they just don't naturally swim upstream. Okay. They go with the flow. You got to create the flow. If the flow is happening in your direction, and sometimes it's creating the perception of the flow, right? Why do you put out 9 bajillion directional signs for your open house? Because you want to look like you have 12 open houses, even if you only have one, right? They go, I see your signs everywhere. And people a lot of times don't even like, I just saw your sign. I just figured you must have listed 100 houses. Like, no, those were directionals, not for sale signs. People, like, their brains are funny. Right. So when they see people are moving and everyone's recognizing and everyone's talking about it, now I promise you, if you tag me and tag us and tag Fire in when you do your announcements, we're gonna share it. And guess what? I have some cool friends that a lot of people know. Right. And it's not about who you know, it's about who you know that know them, right? And that they know. Right. It's always that whole thing. People are gonna like it, people are gonna share it, people are gonna comment on it and you're gonna get some traction out of it. But when people are seeing it, they're seeing all these things and they're seeing people that they know commenting. I'm like, wait a minute, how do you know that guy? Or how do you know that gal? Like, oh, well, they're in this group, or they're part of that group, or they're over at EXP. And they're like, oh, well, they liked your thing. And you're like, I don't even know them, but we all support each other here. It's a great community. It creates this flow, but all of a sudden it's like people, like, it's amazing. But if you walk into a building and everyone's walking out, like, take an auditorium of 500 people, okay, and have them all get up and walk out at the same time and walk out the front door. Someone walking in the front door of the building when everyone's going this way is going to go, okay, it must be a fire drill or something. And they'll turn around and walk out. They have no idea why they just walked out of the building. They just followed everyone who's walking out of the building. This is human nature. Okay. So when it seems like everyone is joining under you and everyone is joining EXP and everyone in your market, and that's why when other people not in our group and not in your group add people, comment on that. Congratulate them, high five them, share it, do whatever, it doesn't matter, right? All of those things. And by the way, I brand all of my stuff, so it says Fire Community on it. So when I do posts and do other things like that, talking about the growth and talking about the success of our group, tons of people all over EXP share my posts and they all say Fire Community on it. And they all have my name on it. And guess what? People call me and go, your group is growing like crazy. I want to be part of your group. Can I join under you? Because someone else shared it. Okay, we're creating this thing. The perception is that everyone is joining with us. Okay, so make the next one easy for yourself. It's like if you sell a house, don't sell it in secret. I sold the house. Get a testimonial from your sellers, right? Do all the stuff out there. Leave the for sale sign up with sold on it as long as you possibly can. There are people that were buyers and they got permission from their buyers. When you bought the house and the for sale sign goes down, another special sign goes out on the yard that says another home sold by or represented by blank. Your name, your picture, your stuff on there. You represented the buyer. The for sale sign's down. The sale is closed. Your sign goes in the front yard for a set period of time saying you were the one that helped the buyer find this house. Number one, the last sign that everyone sees is the one that they all remember. They think you sold the house. And number two, even if they don't, they're going to go, wow, that person helped someone in this neighborhood. They're a big agent. I see your signs everywhere. Okay. It's mindset. All right. Get cappers. Okay. Full revenue share. You're going to max out. If you get a whole bunch of half cappers and quarter cappers and everything else, they're great. I love everybody of all production level, but from lining, your pocket standpoint and maximizing what you're going to get, when someone caps, you get the most amount of revenue share you could possibly get from them. Okay. So if you're trying to max out your financial return, if you have a choice, go for people that are going to provide the most. Okay. All right. And then if other people are in that aren't there, help them get there the best you can. Right. Because that's what we're about, helping people increase their production. Get FLQAs, right? That's the other thing. If they're not going to be a capper, help them be an FLQA. They need to close 5,000 GCI every 6 months on a rolling basis. As soon as they close a deal where there's 5,000 GCI, they are now an FLQA for you for 6 months from that point forward. Okay. So find people that are going to close deals during that frequency. If you have people in, you can track actually in my EXP, it'll tell you when they're going to run out of being an FLQA for you and everything else. You can say, hey, nothing else. It's not just about you getting paid. It's about going, hey, you haven't closed a deal in like 5 months. I just got a note on this because you're going to stop being an FLQA. It's not about that. It's about, I want to make sure you're selling houses. What can I do to help you? Are you struggling? Are you whatever? Are you happy with your production? Help your people. All right. New agents are tomorrow's producers. It's an ecosystem. We need them too. The top producer of tomorrow hasn't gotten in the business yet today. So we love new agents. We love new agents. Get them in here, help them get productive, help them do the best they can. All right. There's a bunch of do's and don'ts. You guys can read these. I won't bore you with it. Okay. It's a numbers game. You got to talk to people. You got to get out and talk to people, right? That you just have to go do it. Don't worry about like, it's not, you're not hovering your hammer over the nail. So you can go, oh, one hit. I got the nail in, I drove the nail. Like that's not the point. You're going to be like tap, 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 tap until the nail is in. Because you're going to, if you do that, you're going to miss a bunch of times, and everything else. And you waited, like I could have hit 6 nails in by the time you waited to get the one hit, right? So go talk to a whole bunch of people, miss a bunch of times, have them not join, roll off, build relationships, have fun, help people, get the ones you get. Find the motivated, right? Save the ones swimming towards you. If they go, maybe, and then like, don't draw it out. Like that buyer who says they're going to buy and they want to look at houses for 6 months, right? Hey, call me when you're ready. I would rather go work with 3 people that are ready to buy right now than, a whole bunch of people that are going to, we'll see. And I'm showing them properties forever, right? Find the ones that are ready to go. Find the motivated, right? If you want results right now, if you've got 10 agents, you're like, I'm working on these 10, I got 10 people in my pipeline. I'm like, yeah, but you've had 10 people in your pipeline for 6 months. You haven't had one single person join. Drop those 10. Put them on a drip campaign. Still love them, still have a relationship with them. It's not about cutting them off. It's just like, I'm just not going to, I'm not counting that as happening. I need to go find one person who's ready to join today. Out of all the agents in your local market or anything else like that, there is one person right now who is thinking about joining EXP and does not have a sponsor. Go find them. They will join you next week and name you as a sponsor. You will start getting revenue share from them. They will go close like 1 or 2 deals, like spring market's coming. They're going to go, boom. You're going to get $2,800 from that one person coming on board, right? They go find the next one, go find the next one. You're like, oh my gosh, in 6 months. I just got $10,000 in revenue share in the last 6 months because I found a very small handful of people who were ready to go. And they're out there. You just got to go find them. All right. Here's your work. Here's your homework. Okay. You're going to get, I'm going to post all the stuff. You'll get the video to go rewatch this. You're going to get all these slides. You get all the things to go through. You just got to figure out your numbers. Figure out your numbers and you're going to post it before our next class. But guys, don't you guys have to want this. So like if I'm like right before the next class going, hey, where are your numbers and everything else, it's fine. I will post it there and everything else. But when people call me and want help to go do it, right? I'm looking for the people that want to go do it. Right. So did you guys go watch the Just Do It speech, the art? Right. You post that like, great, just do it. Right. Just do it. Okay. We'll post that again if you didn't get a chance to see it, if you came in late after that. But guys, like everybody says they want it. Go get it. Go get it. Go do the work that it takes. And, I promise you, no matter how busy I am, I will lean in and drop things to help you if you're doing it. Okay. The third time that somebody tells me they want to do it, but then they haven't done the last 3 things that I've told them, probably the next time they need me to drop something to jump on, to do something for them, might be busy. Okay. So like, if you want it, go get it. I promise you, I will help you. Promise you, and I promise you, you can do it. I promise you, you can do it. Just keep doing it and it'll work. All right. So put the stuff in there, go through this, put it out there, plan it. And by the way, your homework all the time is talking to people, right? Every week. Don't wait. Don't wait. You cannot break it. Go have relationships with people, talk to them, see who's interested. And if you go, hey, Dave, I talked to 10 people this week. I'm like, awesome. How'd you do? All 10 of them told me to get lost. Awesome. It's a numbers game. At some point, someone's going to say yes, right? It's not about the results. It's always about the actions and the activities. Don't get tied to the outcome. Do the actions, do the activities, do the actions, do the activities. It will hit. It'll happen. It'll happen. And then it'll start happening. It'll happen more frequently. It'll all be good. So don't worry about the no's. Don't worry about the anything else. Mess things up. I did horrible. I embarrassed myself. Just keep on rolling. Keep on rolling. Okay. Next week, we're going to talk about learning how to speak fluent EXP, right? Scripts and systems to get appointments and get to yes. Sound good? Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you for hanging along with me. I appreciate it. These always go long because I could talk about this for 100 years. This is fun. Guys, just dig into it. Please, please, please have fun with this. Don't let this stress you out. Don't put too much importance on this. Don't put too much stress on yourself. Have fun with it. Here's the bottom line. Okay. When you help other people, eventually it's going to come back to you. So put your focus on helping other people. How many people can I go help? How many people can I go talk to? I want to help them. I want to help them, right? How do I help them succeed? How do I help them grow their business? I want to bring them into our group so they can hang out with us. So they can learn how to use KV Core, and they can learn how to, about revenues, and they can be connected with all these different people that can help them, and they can be on this awesome EXP platform with a group of people that's cheering for their success, and they feel like they belong to something, right? I just want to go find people who want that, and I want to go give it to them, and I want to go help them. And that's it. I just want to go help them. Find the people who want that, invite them in. Okay.
Quick question, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So if we have that first conversation and they want more information, and we're talking about webinars, or what Frank does, and where do we find a schedule of that kind of, is that in the EXP University, or is that something that we create, or are there webinars going on that we can send people to or join people at?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we'll put in the attraction class a link to those webinars so you can see what they are. There's obviously The Model Explained, which is literally themodelexplained.com, which is Brent Gove talking about EXP for like 15 minutes. He's phenomenal. He's Brent. But the one with Frank is another one that's done through EXP. So if you want one that's kind of non-denominational and tied simply to EXP, Frank does a great job of that. He happens to be in our group, so that helps. So Chris, we'll get the links for those there, that information. That's something that they can go. Those are set up 2 different ways. I mean, you can just go watch the video of them speaking about it, do whatever, but they're also set up webinar style where you answer some questions, you do X, Y, and Z, and they go in there and scheduled for a day and time. And
sorry about my dogs.
no, you're good. You're good. So anyway, those are there as well. And then, over time, we've got some plans to create some of our own stuff as well. So we'll have some fun with that. So yeah, lots of different things where you can send them. And then, you've got Mark and Rochelle, and they're awesome. And so, there's someone where, again, you can work with them, and they can be third party for you. And of course we can, and other people in the group can. So you got a bunch of people that can help you with that. Get them interested, and then just wave the flag, be like, hey, you know, send a message to send it to Mark and Rochelle and Kristen and I. And just say, like, I have someone interested, where do I go from here? You know, and then, or, you know, what do we need to do next? Or who can help me with this? Or I had the first conversation with them. Love to set up the next call, you know, whatever. And between us, we'll make sure you're covered.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Thanks again. I appreciate you. I'm going to kill record.